Corey, your thoughts on the illiteracy that continues to spread like wildfire across this nation?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's really tragic, but it's not really surprising when you take into account that a lot of activist school teachers, a lot of activist school unions have gone away from the methods that we know are tried and true that actually work, right? So like we have a lot of teachers unions that have pushed forth this whole quote unquote whole word method instead of pushing forth phonics. And we know that phonics works, and it's definitely tried and true. And it's so important to learn how to read. Obviously it's important, but especially for kids that are poor, kids that don't have resources, they need those basic building blocks so they can make a life for themselves in a country that's, as we talked about before, it's just rapidly moving forward with artificial intelligence. And so many jobs are going to be replaced. And if you don't have basic building blocks, like the ability to read, I don't see what future you really have in this country. So yeah, I mean, it's horrible, but I think that a lot of it comes to the fact that we've put forth ideology before what's best for children. And that's something that I think is very tragic.
You know, here's what's fascinating. I mean, when you think about illiteracy, you know, there's no way we could have left our home without being able to speak and to communicate and to conjugate. And it's just no way. I mean, so Corey, is the onus on the parent? Because if a kid is not being able to speak proper grammar and compose sentences before they leave to go to the classroom, by the time they get to the classroom, it's going to get progressively worse for them. So is it the parent? Is it the classroom? What is it?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of blame to go around. But if you're going to ask me, I think that parents have to take more responsibility for their own children's outcomes. And that means that you have to be willing to, read to your children. I mean, there's a lot of studies that show that for kids that are higher income, their parents actually read to them far more. They'll sit down with them at night when they go to bed and they'll read bedtime stories, right? They'll also talk to their children more and not talk to them in this very like baby language like dada, mama, goo goo gaga. They're talking to them like an adult, right? They'll have conversations with their children even when their children are 1, 2, 3 years old because they, I think, subconsciously understand that it's important for kids to acquire language and to know how to speak in a very mature manner. And that's how kids pick up vocabulary. That's how they learn grammar, by speaking, by talking. Parents need to actually read to their kids. You don't have to rely entirely on the school for their education. Like obviously most parents, if we're being honest, are not capable of teaching their kids something like algebra. And sadly, there are a lot of parents that can't even teach their kids fractions, right? A parent probably can't teach their kid how to dissect Shakespeare, but you can teach them, very basic grammar, very basic phonics, how to read things. This isn't really rocket science. And so honestly, this problem will go away if every parent in America, especially lower income parents, minority parents that have these achievement gaps, if you committed to reading to your kids when they're a child, 30 minutes every night, just 30 minutes, this problem will probably go away. And you probably wouldn't even need the school district. You probably wouldn't need to do all the protests and go through all of this political nonsense. That's not going to solve anything anyway. But I think that parents should take responsibility for their own children's outcomes, and we would be far better off.